America in the 1800s was a nation divided. The issue of slavery tore at its very fabric. Southern states relied heavily on enslaved Africans for labor on their large farms called plantations. Northern states, with their growing industries, opposed slavery on moral and economic grounds. The abolitionist movement, advocating for the immediate end of slavery, gained momentum in the North. They believed slavery was a moral evil. Southerners fiercely defended slavery, arguing it was essential to their way of life and economy. Tensions escalated with each new state admitted to the Union. Would it be a free state or a slave state? The delicate balance of power in the government was at stake. Compromises were attempted, but they only served as temporary fixes. The election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860 proved to be the breaking point. Lincoln, a Republican opposed to slavery's expansion, was seen as a threat by the South. His victory pushed the nation to the brink of war. Following Lincoln's election, 11 Southern states seceded from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America. They elected Jefferson Davis as their president. The Confederacy believed in states' rights and the right to own slaves. The Civil War began on April 12, 1861, with the Confederate attack on Fort Sumter in South Carolina. The Union garrison, commanded by Major Robert Anderson, surrendered after a 34-hour bombardment. The attack on Fort Sumter ignited the nation. Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers to quell the rebellion. 4 more Southern states seceded, joining the Confederacy. The nation was at war with itself. The first major battle of the war took place at Bull Run, Virginia, in July 1861. Both sides were poorly trained and equipped. The Confederates, led by General Thomas Stonewall Jackson, routed the Union Army, sending shockwaves through the North. The war, it was now clear, would be long and bloody. The Civil War raged for 4 long years, marked by countless battles and untold casualties. Some battles, however, proved to be pivotal turning points in the conflict. The Battle of Antietam, fought in Maryland in September 1862, was the bloodiest single-day battle in American history. The Union victory, though costly, allowed Lincoln to issue the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing slaves in Confederate-held territory. In July 1863, the Battle of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, marked a turning point in the war. The 3-day battle resulted in a decisive Union victory, shattering the Confederate Army's hopes of invading the North. Meanwhile, in the West, Union General Ulysses S. Grant captured Vicksburg, Mississippi, giving the Union control of the Mississippi River and splitting the Confederacy in 2. Gettysburg and Vicksburg marked a turning point in the war, shifting the momentum in favor of the Union. The Civil War was a clash not only of armies but also of ideologies and leadership. 2 figures stand out: Abraham Lincoln, the President of the United States, and Robert E. Lee, the commanding general of the Confederate Army. Lincoln, a man of unwavering conviction, led the Union through its darkest hour. His Gettysburg Address, delivered at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, stands as a timeless testament to the principles of liberty and equality. Lee, a brilliant military strategist, was torn between his loyalty to Virginia and his belief that secession was wrong. He chose to fight for his home state, leading the Confederate Army with skill and determination. His surrender at Appomattox Courthouse in 1865 marked the end of the Confederacy. These 2 men, forever linked by history, represented the complexities of a nation divided. Section 5. Emancipation Proclamation. A new meaning to war. The Emancipation Proclamation, issued by President Lincoln on January 1, 1863, was a watershed moment in American history. It declared that all slaves held in Confederate territory shall be then, thenceforward, and forever free. While it did not immediately free all slaves, the Emancipation Proclamation transformed the Civil War from a struggle to preserve the Union into a fight for human freedom. It galvanized anti-slavery sentiment in the North and abroad, making it morally impossible for European powers to support the Confederacy. The proclamation also allowed African Americans to enlist in the Union Army and Navy. Over 200,000 black soldiers and sailors fought for the Union, playing a crucial role in the war's outcome. The Emancipation Proclamation was a beacon of hope for enslaved Africans, a promise that their freedom was within reach. Section 6. A house divided cannot stand. The Confederacy crumbles. As the war dragged on, the Confederate Army faced mounting challenges. Outnumbered and outgunned by the Union, they fought with tenacity but dwindling resources. The Union blockade choked off southern ports, crippling the Confederate economy. Food shortages and inflation became rampant in the South, sapping morale. General William T. Sherman's devastating march to the sea in 1864 cut a swath of destruction through Georgia, further weakening the Confederacy. His scorched earth tactics aimed to break the South's will to fight. By 1865, the Confederacy was on its last legs. Section 7. The Cost of Freedom, a Nation Scarred. After 4 years of brutal warfare, the Confederacy collapsed. General Lee's surrender to General Grant at Appomattox Courthouse on April 9, 1865, marked the end of the Civil War. The war's cost was staggering. Over 620,000 soldiers perished, more than any other conflict in American history. Countless civilians also lost their lives due to disease, starvation, and the war's devastation. The South lay in ruins, its economy shattered, its society in upheaval. Reconstruction, the process of rebuilding the nation and integrating formerly enslaved people into society, would be a long and arduous task. Section 8. Reconstruction, picking up the pieces. With the war over, the daunting task of reconstruction began. The South was in ruins, its economy shattered, and its social order upended. The nation grappled with how to reintegrate the former Confederate states and how to incorporate millions of newly freed African Americans into society. The Reconstruction era saw the passage of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution, abolishing slavery, granting citizenship to African Americans, and guaranteeing voting rights for black men. These were landmark achievements, but their implementation was met with fierce resistance in the South. Despite the challenges, African Americans made significant strides during Reconstruction. They held elected office, established schools and businesses, and asserted their newfound rights. However, their progress was met with a violent backlash from white supremacist groups like the Ku Klux Klan, who used terror and intimidation to maintain white dominance. Section 9. A Legacy Forged, the Enduring Impact. The American Civil War was a defining moment in the nation's history. It ended slavery, redefined the meaning of freedom and equality, and reshaped the country's political and social landscape. The war's legacy continues to resonate today. The issues of race, equality, and civil rights, fought over so fiercely during the Civil War and Reconstruction, remain central to the American experience. Remembering the Civil War is not just about understanding the past, but also about confronting the present and shaping the future. It serves as a reminder of the fragility of democracy, the importance of unity, and the ongoing struggle for a more just and equitable society.